business where hobby meets hustle. Listen up.
Like, what if my grandma's listening?
Shouts out Corey and Tim. Man, who run this? Surely it's them.
We're here, podcast, Slab Business Podcast 2. So let's go over some hobby news. Shout out to GemRate on Instagram. The guy.
First of all, why are we talking about hobby news like we read?
Well, we read Instagram.
Thank you, GemRate, for making. All right, but yeah, those guys are reliable.
Wait, GemRate isn't?
Thank you, GemRate, for making.
Instagram isn't.
If you could let me speak, thank you, GemRate, for making it easy for guys like me and Corey that just want to see the information. Awesome charts. And we appreciate what you do. We met him in New York at Bleecker Trading Event.
Yeah, and it was funny because I had no idea. I had never met him before, and I don't know what I thought, honestly, who it would be, but I saw a guy wearing a GemRate hat,
like a robot,
and I was like, "Yo, where'd you get that hat? That's dope." Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I'm GemRate," and I was like, "Oh, well, that makes sense." Like that'd be like somebody being like, "Yo, where'd you get that SYS hat?" You know what I mean? It'd be like, yeah,
I am as well. What? Yeah, real good guy. I thought he might be an actual like AI program, and that we would.
Yo, he's like, I talked to him for like a good while because I was just so curious on like what his end all goal, I guess, because obviously what he's doing is you don't start that unless you're a hobby guy, right? There's no. Like, I'm sure he makes some money off advertising and sells some data or whatever. I don't even know. People say they sell data, big data. Shout out big data.
Where do you even buy data?
I don't know. I think you get it on Amazon.
I say data, though. But yeah, I don't even know. But yeah, anyways, we got to ask him that. But he probably won't tell us.
Yeah, no. Well, so he's like a programmer, dude. And that dude, I was asking him, like, yo, where do you get all, like, do you have... He's like, oh, yeah, I write code. And, like, I was like, you ever have problems with the grading companies? Yeah, this dude told me today would, like, try to stop him. And he just would be like, next day, like code circles around him.
Can you say what you're saying? Yeah.
Because they're cool now.
Can you say it?
Because they realized that he wasn't doing anything malicious. Like, they were just concerned, like, what it was. Like,
yeah, no, it's a necessary
so,
thing.
Anyway...
What's it say? I know you're excited to show me.
Yeah, so shockingly or not shockingly, PSA has graded this month 1.01 million items, I assume, cards, items. That's down 18%.
I think GemRate. Yeah, I think GemRate does the full all the way to tickets. Whenever you look at the his overall chart, so I think that's all items.
So, but dude. Down 18%, but that's still 1 million slabs entering the market, dude. That's just so insane to me. SGC's in second place, down 7% at 88,000. Shocking, not shocking? You're a big SGC guy.
I believe they're at 88,000 though.
And that's all cards, we can assume.
Well, so I believe... Well, go to the other ones. We'll go through all of them and we'll talk about, because I have a few theories on why.
Third place, 68K, and that is CGC or CCG, which is CSG and CGC are the two card versions of that. They're up 19%.
Yeah, it's TCG and sports. They are absolutely
68K.
Okay, what's the last one? Where's Beckett? Where's Beckett?
Bringing up the rear is ISA. Just kidding.
No.
Beckett at 66K, and they're up 17%. So Beckett's up 17% in fourth place. Now that's up from last month.
All right. Yeah. I have a theory on a few. First of all, CSG. I'm going to call it CSG. I think that they're killing it. I know they're killing it because if you look at the other numbers, so they killing it in the TCG
dude, all
market.
Three of the bottom three aren't even a third of PSA altogether.
Yeah, I don't think that's the story. I think having. So you're looking at. I'm talking about math. 1.3 million people grading
roughly.
cards
Yeah,
or cards being graded
little under, but
overall.
yeah.
And that doesn't count. We know some smaller guys. We know some smaller companies that are grading. MGC out in London about 7,000 cards a month.
Yeah, it doesn't. Who cares?
Yeah, I think
I'm
SGC.
kidding. I care,
People over
but
there
fuck.
care. No, I'm just saying, like people. So SGC, I think, is winding down their tops $9 deal. I think that's why their numbers are down, is because people are sending less of the tops. People already sent it in because that deal is winding down if it's not already over. Uh, PSA,
Dude, they literally
I
are
don't know.
triple the whole other grading services. How does anyone even think like? And again, I guess nobody really does think they'll ever compete with PSA, but like this just proves it, dude. You're talking 88,000 to 1.01 million, and that's down 18%. PSA is literally has triple the amount of all the other grading companies, all the top three, the big three, whatever.
Yeah, I think the only way to is if like Fanatics did a deal for any of those three. It's Fanatics against collectors
Yeah.
is the overall two giants going up against each other.
Speaking of that, so the
As of
PWCC, we need to talk about that. That a little more about the Fanatics acquisition, not on the Fanatics side, on the PWCC side, but just want to note that. So go back.
yeah, I think we've been told. I don't want to pretend like because we'll never tell you who tells us right out there, but we've been told that Fanatics is not going to buy a great, not going to,
Yeah, they're
not
not
thinking
interested.
about. We've been told they're not interested. So PWCC has a relationship with Beckett. At least if you go to their weekly auction, they were grading through Beckett. It would have to be Fanatics buying or saying SGC as our grading company or
Yeah, but
anything
even
along those
that, I
lines.
don't like. Honestly, not in the first year. That ain't gonna do anything. I mean, it's gonna be
No.
over time. I mean, and I guess all these companies can catch up over time, but it's just criminal how far ahead PSA is in grading things, and they're just expanding,
Yeah.
more and more into what they're grading and everything else. So,
Well, I can see a world where SGC does a deal, right? And your Fanatics live breaker, and you can go right to SGC. And that could take away if you're on Fanatics Live. Who knows? Does that take
I don't know,
away
man, because
250,000?
no, because again, the overall reason for grading again, and some people, is value, right? And then there's stored value, and then just kind of quick flip value. Obviously, quick flip value is probably, we've heard people talk about this where you can get a card back quicker and you can play the kind of time the market during like specific spots in NBA finals and all that stuff. So there's value in that. But again, no, because like anything really worth grading, people are probably going to hesitate and they're not just going to. It's got to be a sweet deal for them to just check the box and go send it to SGC. I want it because to me, there's got to be part of like if it was check the box, send it to PSA, dude. I mean, it would be a no brainer.
I don't know. I like them all. I still like Beckett. SGC's grown, CSG's grown on me since they changed the label. I think. I mean, look, we always used to argue about who the top five would be, but it's really the top four. And there's a bunch of other people that are making money and they have good businesses.
Well, speaking of that, so ISA,
I think there's a world.
You were just on a podcast with Kuntz, who is hate him or love him. He's a lightning rod in the hobby. There's, he's been linked to card trimming scandal stuff. He's been linked to different things, and he doesn't really shy away from any of it. So I kind of respect that. I don't know. I've had conversations with him. We actually have a mutual friend, and it's interesting to see the dynamic. Whether you like him or not, the guy's a lightning rod, and he doesn't overly like come off like offending people, like where he's like that guy Mathis who's just like putting out like, hey, screw you, here's how you trim a card, I don't care. Like, so I have no problems with Kuntz. People can whatever message me and tell me he's done this, that, and the third back in the 90s. And honestly, not my place. I don't really have an opinion on that. So I'm not going to I'm basing my opinion on him of the person that I've met and know now and kind of have seen his content. And whether, again, like him or hate him, the guy's running a pretty big grading company, and like that takes money and that takes like investment in the hobby, right? So like I can't hate on that, whether or not he's doing it because he feels maybe, I don't know, he needs to get back to something that he may have taken a shortcut on. Again, I'm gonna have people blah blah blah. Like I don't know. Just because Blowout Forum said it.
Who are you
Blowout Forum, dude.
Who are
I don't
you yelling
know.
at right now?
Like just because this stuff's on, I'm trying to get your eye back into the screen. Maybe wake them up.
Yeah, well, you can't keep making fun of lazy eye people.
You're not
You
actually
might have
lazy
someone.
though. I mean,
Okay.
I've never seen it
That's
before. I've seen you a million times. I just think it's not catching up to your camera, so maybe you need your camera. But like again, I don't know. So if it was interesting, and this is an interesting topic, like you were going on that podcast, right? You didn't know going into it that he was going to be on it. You were kind of whatever, put in a box by being like, "Hey, podcast is at 7. By the way, Jason Kuntz is one of the panelists." First, and second of all, for anybody who didn't check it out, go check it out because it's a wild scene. It's Tim, Mama Breaks, Jason Kuntz, and Victory Investments.
Sean from Victory
Two of the guys have basketball courts in their house. The other two people have cards.
No, he did. He doesn't have. That was a green screen. He was making fun of.
Oh,
yeah, it was.
Man.
He was making fun of Kuntz. So I heard that you lost a bet with someone, or at least you were talking. But he was making fun of Kuntz because he does content around trimming. He does like content showing.
Oh, really? I thought he was just like a like Victory Invest. I thought he was a baller. Funny joke, haha.
No, he has a very nice. He has a very nice green screen.
Dude, that's why I didn't think it was green screen. But I was looking, dude, you couldn't see any like.
No, I asked him.
Like.
No, before we went live, I asked him. I was like, "Yo," because me and him were the first one in the room. So I was like, "Yo, is that for Kuntz?" I said, "Have you ever seen his car?" He said, "Yeah." But by the way, and he explains it on the show. But that is Kuntz driving to the lane on Michael Jordan is Blake Griffin's body with Kuntz's head on it. That's what that mural is on the back. Is Blake Griffin's body with Kuntz's face on it, driving against Michael Jordan. Blake Griffin
never played against Michael Jordan.
I know, but he was. Kuntz didn't want to have a fat Kuntz on the wall, so they used Blake Griffin's body. He played for the Pistons. That's why you didn't see that part.
That's hilarious, dude. That's like
You didn't see.
That's like what's that movie where the guy's got like the video or like the mural of himself, like yeah, Dodgeball.
Oh, Dodgeball,
where he's got the mural of himself like as like a part horse.
Oh, being on a panel with Kuntz.
Right. So I guess what was interesting, we were talking about before, you had kind of heard about that you were going to be on the panel, and you kind of asked like a group of us or a clubhouse if it kind of came up like, oh, what, like is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, is it worth being?
Whoa!
What? Okay, who cares?
Nothing.
Nobody cares about the nuance of how it came up.
People started giving me their opinion. Oh,
okay.
People started giving me their opinion, which I respect.
After people beat it into you, after 5 people, the first person's opinion you did not respect.
That's what a debate about. That's what a debate is about. That's what you talk about. That's why you talk about things. With the boys.
Again, the main overall question was, can you being on a podcast with somebody who is whether hated, loved, whatever, affect who you are? And is it your responsibility to be that person? They're like, and I don't believe this to be on there. Like, you need to be the guy who asks him the hard questions. Like, dude, it's not your podcast. And I don't think podcast
Yeah.
hosts should be held to that. They're doing their own thing. Whatever their questions are, their questions.
Well, yeah, it's whatever their audience likes. So they probably know what their audience likes is like, unless they're down out. Yeah, it's not my place. However, if at least the way I am, uh, it it didn't really come up. There was a guy asking in the audience, and Kuntz answers the question. If I was asked my opinion, I definitely would have gave it. Or if we were talking about it more, I think that it came up for like 5 minutes. Uh, the sports car therapist, I think I'm not even sure if he brought it up or if someone asked in the chat how many of the cards went through his hands. Um, I have the same opinion of, so when I see Kuntz, I yell Kuntz. I think it's a dope name to yell. He usually gives me a little fist bump and he, walks away. I sent a card to ISA to get graded because I want my name on every uh, Google search or whatever it is, and every holder I can get. So my opinion on Kuntz is I don't I like him. I mean, as a person, right? And then there's the whole uh, hobby fraud. Is he a scumbag for this or that? And it's like I don't know because I just collect cards. And in the '90s, when all this stuff was happening, I was still just collecting cards and ripping packs. And uh, I wasn't looking for up until recently, right? We have a product. Up until recently, I wasn't even trying to let my opinion known, right? I just collecting cards, and then you become friends with people that are affected. So the whole situation with them, and I'm going to use the word promoting it because even though they go like they're promoting it, Mathis and Kuntz, uh, it sucks.
Was Coots
But it's
promoting it?
hard.
I didn't know anything about that.
I just mean in general, talking about it, being on forums, the questions come up. There's at least one person that says, "Oh, I can probably do that." So I just mean promoting it in the sense that he's talking about it. But now I don't even see anything, man. I don't see any memes, or that I'll see a random meme every 5 days of, someone trimming something or whatever. And most of them are funny. Lameme James does his thing. Uh, but yeah, so the opinion of the man, I don't have a problem with him. I've never seen him personally in his presence or talking to him on like a podcast. He's never done
What
anything
would you
wrong to
do if he
me
just
on the
sat
hobby
there
side of
and
things.
like was up in his little box in the corner and just had like a pair of scissors and a card and was just like, but just like talking, like almost
Oh,
making a joke out of it?
well then you got to say something because then see that's when it gets into something happening in your presence and you speak up, you do the right thing. So I mean, if he's making a joke out of it, at the very least you hit him with the "come on, Koontz," like that's not funny. People are affected. But at the same time, I'm not really emotional about this sort of thing. Like it would be more like that. Hey, Koontz, come on, bro. Like that's
Right.
crazy.
And here's
That
the other thing, like
I mean, what are you
all
gonna?
this talk about like the trim, like um, what he did here and there, like, and people wanting to know. People don't want to know. Like
Well,
they they don't.
I
Okay, so people who want like want to see things fail or like to see like, and I guess that's not overly true, but like the people who own those cards don't want to know, and the
the people
people
who own
who have owned those
the
cards
people
don't want to know. And
the people that own the cards definitely don't want
but
to
I don't know
know.
how they
But I
would
would
know
say,
because one person
well,
said like,
let me real quick.
again, unless you can like
Mm.
show me like definitive facts of here's it where it was subbed in from Kuntz. Here's where it came back to Kuntz with this matching serial number, and then went out to the world. And he said, "I trimmed that card." And honestly, like that's really the only way that I would even see it.
Well, like I'm going to say, I think the vast majority of people that want to buy those cards would want to know. And I think here's what my solution would be. Number one, I think you're right. It's not going to be easy to figure out which cards they are. However, I do believe it can be done. And then secondly, I would say for PSA to come out and say, I would always get ahead of and they didn't get ahead of it, but right, get ahead of it and say, hey, look, these cards were altered in the 90s. They look beautiful. And these are the cards that we believe have potentially been altered. People would forget about it in uh, a week. All the people and all the values would be whatever, because at the end of the day, if you graded these things in the 90s and they're trimmed, and it's a, let's just say it's one of the PSA 10 mantles, those things look beautiful. Like, who
Right.
cares?
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do? It's altered. Is that my thing would be, is that a real mantle? Okay, how much was trimmed off it? I don't understand how much can be trimmed off before it
Right.
just looks
And how much
crazy,
it like
and I
it
don't
doesn't
understand
then
why
it
that.
doesn't fit into like the little like you know um
No, but that would be my solution, is PSA to get ahead of the game, so it would honestly end within a week. People would know what cards are questionable, and then let people make the decisions if they want. We already know the first card ever graded by them was hand cut from a sheet.
right and the
Just
biggest
it's
card
okay.
ever.
Just put that on the thing. Yeah, the Honus Wagner. Is it a
No, dude,
one?
it's a
Is it just
9.
authentic? It's a nine. No,
It's
it's an
either
eight.
8 or 9. It's definitely not a 1. Like and
Um,
again that yeah that
but yeah,
so
that
that
would be
I don't know.
like, there's people. Bro, there's someone. I forget what it sold for, but there was a Honus Wagner ripped in
Yeah, for like
half that was
1.2
sold
million or
within this
something.
last.
Yeah. Because it's authentic. That stuff is so
Um,
rare. Like and that's where it gets into like, who cares? Like the so rare stuff, whether or not like again PSA's first card being trimmed, I don't know what the hell they're supposed to do. Like again, it's a grading company that does
just talk
just
about it.
talk about it, right?
Just talk.
But the
Just talk
problem
about it.
is they have
Tell
that
the truth, and I
guarantee,
think they have. I
and
think
that guarantee comes into play, and then people. Honestly, there's such like scumbags around that they would take advantage of that guarantee and go try to go find cards just to get like almost like an insurance scam. Like, oh, I knew this card was altered. I sent it in. Now you have to pay me for it. Um,
yeah, but I'm saying, like, okay, that you deal with that for a month,
that doesn't go away.
and you let you. Well, it does go away because you put the cards out there.
Yeah, but I
Look.
still don't think there's even a list.
Oh, and what's the chance? Thing about this? What are the chances of, just in general? What's the percentage of cards that I would have sent in the '90s and that I still have and didn't flip that were things? So, like, if I'm the fifth person to own it, I shouldn't deserve any guarantee from PSA. I bought it. You
Right,
see
but
what I'm
you
saying?
shouldn't
Like, you would
also
have to
be
figure out. Okay,
like. On the other hand, what if PSA goes, okay, we're now decertifying that, and you just bought it, and you're out like 20 grand.
that's what I mean. But this is what bugs me out about all this. What do you mean decertify? So I can't just go. This is the one they decertified, and they're gonna be like, yeah, it's still a mantle 10 or whatever. Like, what are we talking about here? Someone's still gonna want.
Yeah,
It
but
just
nobody's
it's
going to
all
want it
weird. It's all weird. I
until
wish
chop the
PSA would
value in
just come,
half. I could understand being livid about that.
just crack it,
Crack and do what with it?
send it back in. How are they gonna decertify? What
Man,
I'm saying they need to figure out what the cards were, and then going forward, just put
yeah,
it
they're
on the
never going
label.
to do
That's what
that, and
I'm
they're
saying.
never going to figure it out.
Well, all
But
right. I don't know why not. I don't think it's a big deal. People maybe here's the real deal, right? Maybe don't buy a card for $1 million.
yeah, I mean, look, I'm all to that, but I do. But see, here's
Look
the
at
problem with
me.
that is like I see if you start saying that, which I don't disagree with, because again, we're kind of more on the collector side, not the investor side. You need that investor side, and once that investor side is in place, you can't put a cap on it. Like you can't say like maybe cards shouldn't be worth 1 million. Once you start putting like stuff into that category, it's endless to where the value should be, because that's capitalism.
Is it capitalism if we know that there's a floor because the guys that own the cards won't let it drop?
No,
Like,
I
it's
mean
for a
that's
certain price.
manipulation, but that's again that's part of capitalism. There's manipulation everywhere. I
Okay.
mean, it just is true. Okay, let's talk about partnerships in business. Partners suck.
Nah. What do you mean? Talk to me. I
I
disagree.
disagree with myself
I
too.
agree in I agree in the sense that once you have a partner, you are you're still an entrepreneur, right? Because we both own the majority of our companies. However, you are still beholden to someone, and you have to make decisions in their best interest as well. Um, but I like having a partner, man. There's like very few people besides Nikki, and I know your wife, that you can talk to about these certain things. Like me, you and I talk. Our guy Dan, big times us. We talked to. I know we both talked to Clint. Obviously, I talked to my partner. Um, so it's definitely good to be able to talk to someone and just get everything off your chest and figure out what the next move is. But yeah, in general, it would be nice to always own 100% of your company. But I think you even told me in the beginning it was like, oh, give up a little bit for things that you're not
Yeah,
good
so
at,
here's my
or
my
hire
kind of
people.
take on that, and take my advice and throw it out the window. Because yes, you need partners that will, give up a piece of equity and help you, but it's tough, man, because you gotta like really show that vision and like be all on point with it. Because the second that like it starts, if somebody doesn't have the drive that you have or the want that you have for something, they're gonna lose interest. And to get them to keep it, and then ultimately, just because it's a human, you know it's human nature, you grow resentment to the person. In my opinion, I'm doing all this work, I'm not getting any support of what was agreed upon. In their opinion, and they're probably right, I'm not running the business correctly, I'm not doing the things but
Well, hold on, real quick though. So we made a lot of this like same moves or did with the same people. Would you say that you're, because you just said it, I don't think you're not running it correctly. I think you're making decisions and not every decision works out.
yeah, yeah, I do.
But the majority of the
No,
decisions do, and that's
100%. But
why.
also, like, I don't didn't plan on making all these decisions solo. Like, I brought people in that were, to help to make decisions on stuff that I don't really know or maybe just need guidance. I think, like, you just have to have everything very well defined in the beginning. And I can't stress that enough. Like, it has to be written down, it has to be revisited, it has to be reworked constantly. And it's honestly like a bigger grind than grinding out business, is figuring out like what role everyone has, holding people accountable to their roles, but also looking at yourself in the mirror and going, maybe I'm not doing this right. Maybe I'm screwing up. But
Yeah.
and not letting the relationship get far enough along where resentment is grown on both sides, right? I can own it. I'm not like probably the best. I'm not great at delegating. Like my kind of thing is like, what, screw it, I'll do it myself. And I do that so much that I end up like over just completely overwhelmed and like completely like just you know dead to the world because I've just been working so much on this stuff. And truthfully, it is work, like, but I love it. Like, I love doing all of it now. But see, now the
Yes.
resentment's grown so much that it's becoming like I'm looking at it like, okay, where are these guys now? I want, like, if I want to continue this, I'm not doing it for anything but all of my benefit, because like my family sacrifice, my time sacrifice, nobody has like put in more in the past 2 3 years that I've been building this than myself. Yes, some, like, I have had partners, some put up like money, some put up a little more money, but again, none of those partners were ever brought on for money. It was always like, how can they help grow this pie? And then when you go to have the discussion of, all right, guys, this isn't working out. I need to figure out like, and if just the like defense that goes up on the partner's end where they're like, well, you can't do that. You like, and they're referencing like all the stuff that I've built up like as owned by the company, which I agree on paper it is. But if I'm gone, it's all gone. Like and that I don't honestly think that's the proper way to scale a company. I I actually know that now, but I think like mentors are a huge part of it, and just communication is a huge part of it. And I lacked in the communication part, and I found mentors a little bit later who kind of steered me toward like, you got to get this thing back under your own control, or why are you doing it, right? Because again, there's a lot of people in this world who just want a free dollar, and like, it's not free. Whether or not you work for it or you don't, like it came from somewhere, and somebody worked for it, and like that's what frustrates me is people that and it's not even really the people that I'm involved with are overly on this thing, but like people who like think that they see something on the outside and they're like, oh, that guy gets handed everything. He's like, no, bullshit. You're not watching everything we're doing. Like, come spend a week here.
Yeah.
You won't. You'll see what really goes on, and the really hard work it takes to make all this stuff happen, and the sleepless nights of whether or not it's I'm here working till 2 a.m, or I'm at home laying in bed thinking about what I should be doing or what needs to be done, and the fact that I've kind of cornered myself into doing it all myself, and it's kind of like a mountain that you just can't climb. It's just a mountain that just keeps growing. Like you look up and you're like, oh, there's the top, and then you put your head down, work for a week, you look up again, and the top is way higher. And you're like, damn it, how did I get back? But you're not really going back. You're not going back down the mountain. You know what I mean? Like you're everything's just kind of growing, and you are growing something. So there's value to that to yourself. But like to me, it's just you have to communicate, which I didn't do, and but you also have to stick up for yourself. Like you can't just keep doing everything for everybody else's sake, and favors and gestures are nice, but you do have to look out for yourself and your family at the end of the day, because certain people won't, and I don't know if you have any of that with Jeff, because I think like the difference in your situation to mine is like I'm still majority where you're majority, but like it's a comfortable like mix. So like there's an expected like of both of you. There's expected more than just a money investment. There's a lot at stake for Jeff to want to like, and I can understand that maybe on my partners end where they're like, oh, I only have this much percent. Why would I put in that much time? Like, okay, you don't have to put in like what I'm putting in. I'm not asking that, but I'm asking something.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm chilling. That's part one.
I don't know. It just grinds my goat.
Slab Business is your one-stop shop for all things epic.